Welcome, my friend.
My man.
My man. We don't really know each other, but we're going to get into it.
Not at all.
So this is episode 5 of the SLEWNIVERSE podcast. Really exciting. I'm here with Maachew Bentley, a.k.a.
Wagwan.
GENIE, a.k.a. Bentley Mahara.
Bentley Maharaj.
Maharaj, excuse me.
A.k.a. Little Genie from the ground floor.
A.k.a. DJ Thoth? Is that not you?
DJ Thoth. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
Okay. All right. And it's funny because we don't really know each other that well, but the one interaction we've had is for a mutual friend, Phil. Mm-hmm. And why you're on the podcast and why I want to talk to you is because our one interaction, I guess I'll go into, was for a photo shoot. You were taking photos for Phil, our homie. Shout out Dirtbag.
Shout out Dirtbag.
I was taking videos, but Phil showed me the pictures because you were shooting medium format. Mm-hmm. And I'm not like, I don't claim to be a photographer. I've been in photo shoots and I'm in the digital world, but photo's not really my thing. But I remember Phil showing me these pictures and I was like, these are legit, like the sickest photos I've ever fucking seen. And like, you know, there's a lot of good photos, but like being there, seeing you did, what were you using? Lomachrome, right?
I used Lomachrome for the infrared purple-esque images. I had another camera with me. I had 3 cameras. I had 2 cameras. A Nikon F5, which is 35 millimeter. Mm-hmm. And I had a wide lens on that, 35 lens on that. Yeah. And Mamma Mia. And I used Portra 160. That's what I did use.
I love the tech. And we'll like put them up because I have them still for the video. So it'll be overlaid so people hopefully can see.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that's what you were asking.
No, pretty much that was it. And from that, I was like, oh, damn, this guy knows what he's doing. That's sick as fuck. So followed you on Instagram. And that was like over a year ago, right?
Yeah, like just about. Coming up on a year at least. Early August. Yeah, just about.
And I just been following you on Instagram, seeing you do I thought you were just like a photography guy, but clearly not. Clearly doing way more shit. Super interesting. And I know you were in the area. So I just wanted to further the conversation. And that's pretty much it because we don't know much about each other. But that's like going to be a great conversation. I'm excited. So basically, you know, correct me obviously if I'm wrong, you're a musician. DJ is like a big part, you know, besides the photo. Because I thought it was just like Mr. Photo Professional and maybe you've shot for a lot of people. But
yeah, but no.
So could you give me an elevator pitch of your creative life?
Creative life, man. I started in high school. Just kind of hashing things out with a younger friend of mine. Started designing clothes. Just fell in love with downtown New York. Me and a few friends were the only boys from Queens, traveling back and forth 4 a.m. at night. So we got close. And from there, I started managing, creative managing some of those same friends. In their music careers. So I had nothing to do with music at the time.
Oh, interesting.
And then maybe about a year and a half, 2 years later from that, I'll scale back all the timeline, but maybe a year and a half after that, we went down to South by Southwest for the first time. And I went under the kind of friend administrative role. And
I see, yeah.
Maybe 5 seconds before show number 2, there was no DJ. And it didn't matter to me. That was just not what I was there for. Yeah. And my boy Nigel came up to me and said, okay, you're our DJ. And I mean, like 5 minutes before we're going on stage. So I kid you not, I go on stage. I didn't even have my laptop. So this is all like...
So were you messing around with music or
no, I've never... maybe I've seen some original CDJs in my like late teens, like in terms of looking at one. I've never actually DJ'd anything prior to that.
Wow, that's local.
So to our benefit, the house DJ of the night for the show was nice enough to let us use his computer. My boy Remy had the little USB with the
Remy
song.
Banks, right?
Remy Banks.
Yeah,
Remy Banks. Okay, yeah.
I know Remy. Yeah.
Had a USB with the songs on it. And this dude, the house DJ's name was DJ Laser, wherever you are. Thank you. And he literally gave me a crash course on what a mixer does, looks like, the buttons to press while the show is going on.
Forged in fire. So,
a combination of adrenaline on my end, seeing actual crowd in front of me, because of packed lineup. So that, people, this is like early South by Southwest. So people were still going there. There was no it was all up and coming artists. So it was like a packed room. And seeing my friends perform for that. And this dude's like, all right, press this button to stop the song. Damn. And I'm just like, all right, here's the mixer. Oh, this goes up volume. I get that volume. My family's from Jamaica. So it's kind of, that kind of setup is familiar in that way.
Intuitive almost.
Yeah, I've seen people from where I'm from DJ, so I know what a mixer looks like, but how to use it and what does what, channels and all of that, never seen it. Anyway, that show happened, went on well. We ended up, I ended up playing off iTunes for the rest of that week.
Nice.
And it was whatever. Nobody, no one expected much, and I didn't expect much. Fast forward, we leave South by Southwest, and this is out of sight, out of mind for me. I had like a full-time job. I was in fashion by day, so I just completely forgot about it. I'm making like salary money, like I'm an adult as far as I'm concerned.
So the managing your friends, not to interrupt, was just like a passion project you wanted to be with your homies. So this was like you had your full-time gig and this was on the side stuff, passion stuff to help out the homies and.
Yeah, you could say that. From a kind of administrative level, that's what I went to school for. So I guess by default, that's just kind of the role I ended up playing. Okay. For the music part of it, I was creative in other ways, but this wasn't the avenue that I ever expressed myself.
Right.
So I knew how to run an account, logistics, like actual accounts, all of that kind of stuff, which none of my friends knew how to do,
and is important
and very kind of important.
Yeah.
And then when I could contribute some creative, just insight. So that just me and a few friends were just, it's kind of like managing each other, until you kind of find your footing and you learn some things about yourself and you come in and out of that. So we leave South by Southwest. This is 2012, by the way.
Okay, I like the context.
Yeah.
How old are you, by the way?
I'm now 32.
Okay.
So this would be not even 10 years. No. So this is 9 years. 9 and change, right? Or 8 and change ago. And Remy, maybe like 3 months later, he keeps pitching me this, like, you're going to be our DJ. He keeps doing it. Like, you killed it. You killed it. And I'm just like, especially then, there was nothing glamorous about being a DJ. And not that I was looking for glamour. It was just a thankless job. It was kind of alongside the DJ and the manager are like the thankless jobs in an artist's team. You kind of have to do your job, and there's no room to mess up.
Interesting.
And not like now where you have influencers are just like behind the booth taking pictures,
right?
Sexy.
Yeah.
None of that.
Right. Yeah.
So in my head, I'm like, hell no, I don't want to be a DJ. For what? And there's no money. We're not like blowing up where I'm playing clubs in Vegas or I have a residence. None of that was on the table, So I'm kind of like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I don't want to be a DJ. And he would never let up. And I'll never forget, 2 months later, he calls me and I'm like at work. I just pick up, and I don't know if you ever met Remy. Like you've met Remy.
Kind of. I mean, I know of him from Phil. I don't really know him. So I doubt he knows me. But
Remy is a man of the green thumb. So when he calls you, he's more than likely high. So so he calls me and because of that, he's kind of the master of cliffhangers. He'll call you 5 times to tell you one thing.
Yeah.
So he calls me and he's like, yo, Converse is flying us out to London to open up for Nas for the Olympics, during the Olympics.
OD.
And it's so far removed from where I am. I'm kind of like, oh, good for y'all. Like, that's fire. Not even taking it. Why is he calling me? Now you think of it. And like, word. That phone call ends. Calls me again, same day. Pick up, and it was a slow day at work, so I'm just on the phone
chilling.
And he's like, yeah, it's like, yo, we're trying to get you in the budget to go. Because everybody's, at the time, we weren't World's Fair proper yet. We were kind of making.
We got to get into that also about
okay,
welfare.
it's just Remy. Yeah. Remy was part of a trio called Children of the Night. 3 dudes from Queens: Remy, Nigel, and Lansky Jones, or Nasty Nigel. And you know, so they were accounted for regarding going to this trip. He's like,
they're popping at this point, right? Like,
I mean, they were popping in the, especially in the independent space. Because,
that's what I mean.
Yeah, because at that time or that year, which is a reason we even really went out to South by Southwest. They did Mishka was a huge streetwear brand at the time.
Mishka
was a huge brand birthed in. I mean, got his stripes in New York, 2010, 28, 208, like them times, you know.
Yeah,
so at this point, this is when brands first started like sponsoring artist mixtapes.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was like a weird, like they'd front end all the money, all the thing. It'd be a free mixtape, of course, Bandcamp, whatever, you know, actual CDs, art direction, music videos. Like a few brands ended up getting involved in that space, and it's kind of like Danny Brown, like that time, like early Danny Brown, Mr. Mother Effin' Esquire, man, I could name a million of them who just kind of benefited off of that kind of downtown East Williamsburg burgeoning, you know. It was just like a time, that 2-3 year period of time.
I was in middle school. I'm 26.
Okay,
but I know like those. I'm kind of familiar with what you're saying. That's pretty sweet, yeah, because it's different times now.
Different times. So I'm going on a little tangent here.
No, please, that's what we want.
That was the time when all of this was happening. So this mixtape that we put out, the production we have a still to this day one of our, you know, in-house go-to producers, Black Noise from Detroit, who's thankfully found his own path and has been like producing for Earl, and he put out his own music now. He's proper from Detroit, and he produced a bulk of this because he's from the Bruiser Brigade family. And Remy knew like Skywalker and all these guys that were very close to Danny Brown, and he got some beats from Skywalker, and Sky was kind of like, check my boy out, Black Noise, like he's kind of tight. And anyway, that sound became what that Children of Night album was, really the combination of this kind of. I used to use this phrase, and I hate it to this day, but all the articles used to say like futuristic, like boom bap, right?
Right. I think I read a couple of those.
Yeah, it was you know, like noisy Vice, like that time. You know, that's what they would describe it as. And to be fair, it was, but you know, Black Noise is like from Detroit, like techno was like his foundation, you know. So there was a lot of that kind of cross genre pollination. Anyway, that project did really, really well. That was my point.
And
that
you got called. He said, "Okay, we have a budget for you. Come
this
to."
Third phone call is when he said, "You got the budget." Yeah, to close that story. Yeah. Third phone call that day. He's like, "Yo, we got you in the budget to DJ for us." So in my head, I'm like, "We're all from Queens.
Yeah,
here's an opportunity.
Sick opportunity, right?
Open up for Nas.
Yeah, in
London during the Olympics.
That sounds like a fever dream.
Like what? Like how? That doesn't even sound like.
But you had only your one South by Southwest, like
one time, never
crazy.
DJ'd ever before that, and I wasn't practicing in between before then. And he called me. You know, it wasn't like some shit I wanted to pick up and follow suit on.
Yeah.
So he confirmed this budget, and I'm kind of like, yo, I have a job. You're asking me to do that. While it's a huge opportunity, you know, it's all my first time experiencing vacation days, you know, and like personal days and sick days, all that kind of stuff. And like, He long story short, I got the days off for that show, for that trip. And it was all good. He calls me maybe a month later from that original call. And he's like, yo, you ever heard of this thing called Boiler Room?
Oh, wow.
I'm like, nah. He's like, well, we're doing this Boiler Room show. And I'm like, bet, cool. Like, I'll DJ, you know, obviously at this point, I'm going to DJ for y'all.
Yeah. So you're the guy at this point.
Yeah. Cause
so
I mean,
sorry
like,
to jump around. That one, was that like the genesis you're saying? That big trip was
no, right. So
medium.
So so that South by Southwest trip was the first trip.
Okay, right.
2 months later, I get the phone call that in August or the first week of August, we're gonna go to London to do the show.
And that point, you internalize, hey, I'm trying to be a DJ. This is fun.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
But I knew I couldn't mess up for my guys.
Okay.
You know, so I called my boy.
So you still don't really have interest, really?
No,
you're just like, I'll do it for the squad.
I'm telling you, it was not sexy to be a DJ.
Damn, that's crazy.
It wasn't cool.
Because it sounds pretty fucking sick.
Unless you were like a producer and you're DJing your own shit.
Right, and it's your creative manufacturing.
Not for me. I'll just say that. At that point, I wasn't interested. And so I called my boy once I got the Nas call, like, look, just teach me the basics so I don't go over there and mess up nothing. You know, and so between that period of time, I would go to his house after work every day. And in the interim, be going to interviews for Children of the Night, and like World's Fair started making like really putting music out. Yeah. And we're doing like Vice interviews and like all of that, and I'm like in it because I have to go be a part of the face of everything now, right. You know, the group's face, one of the faces in the group, and then going to my boy's house back in Queens to learn how to set up. How do you set up things in 5 minutes? How do you break down in 5 minutes? All right, here's your mixer. And he would just leave me in his basement to do that, just practice transitions all night long. So I get home 4 a.m., go to work 7, and repeat. And this is all week, right? And then he called me about this Boiler Room thing, and he's like, cool, you're going to perform. I'm like, but I mean, at that point, I didn't know Boiler Room was even recorded. I thought it was just like a thing.
And now it's fucking huge.
It's massive.
Was it big back then? Or was it like just starting?
It was their 4th show in New York. So I don't, you know.
Right, they have other locations.
Their first like, New York
that's like
show.
DJ's dreams. That's
straight up.
Like pinnacles.
Straight up. We did... so that show was us, Flatbush Zombies at the time.
That's so sick.
Esquire again, and 2 other folks I forget. It makes me cringe now, but the recording's up somewhere on YouTube.
Yeah, maybe we can snapshot it. I bet maybe we can throw a little clip.
So at that point, I'm DJ Thoth, right? This is like this because I didn't want to be a DJ. Like Maachew Bentley, I didn't want to associate that with DJing. So I created this alias to be the DJ for the group.
Like a lot of people do,
how it came about, right?
Yeah.
Where am I? Okay, so back and forth, and then we do this Boiler Room set. And so Children Night's performing for Boiler Room, and he calls me again. He's like, they need a DJ to live DJ for 15 minutes. 15-minute set. It wasn't, you know, like you don't record a 15-minute set. There's nothing you can really do in 15 minutes. It's an hour, it's 30 minutes, maybe.
I see.
As far as now, you know, where I am now, like, what are you doing for 15 minutes? You have to be playing one song, 1 minute.
I don't even really know. Like, I'm
it's just not
from that world, but it makes sense.
There was no room. There was no reason to have a DJ for 15 minutes in hindsight like this.
It's like a comedian going up for like 5 minutes or something.
Yeah, like I'm buffering for the next. I'm buffering for the next act. Like
I see. Yeah.
So in my head, there was no reason.
You're like, fuck that. I don't want to do 15.
I mean, I did it because I didn't know any better. Like, I'll buffer before we perform. Yeah. I'll buffer before anybody else perform. Like, sure. Like, anyway, so everything's set. Nothing doesn't provide any like bump in the road for me regarding my music. I mean, my life and career and all that. So maybe about a month later, we're coming up on June, like July, mid-July, right before Boiler Room. We get booked for a festival in Belgium. I've never been to Belgium before. never had a real interest in going to Belgium.
World's Fair did, or the
Children
Yeah, okay.
I'm playing this festival called Pukul Pop, which is now a big huge festival. But we got booked for that. But at that point, we didn't really have, we had that one Converse, like the money to get there and do the show and, survive. But we didn't have like money to go to Belgium, to accommodate all it. I mean, well, it wasn't that we didn't have bread to go to Belgium because obviously we got paid to do the show, but
they put you up maybe.
It was like, we got taken care of in that end, but it was like 2.5, 3 weeks after the London thing.
Oh, okay. Quick turnaround.
So, yeah, but I have to go back home to work. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so I can't take a month
and
off
all your
to
homies,
go, and 3 weeks.
Yeah.
That 3 weeks in the middle is kind of dead hanging out in London space. It's not
so
like
this is
we
all
got
turnaround quick.
Like this.
And all your friends, this is like their lives. Like this is what they're doing.
It's the first time Remy's been to London at that time before us, but this is all of our first time going across, like, to Europe. More specific.
But I'm saying, like, you're the group that you're in, like everyone's doing this independent
that's
like art shit. Like you have this job that you had. You're kind of more
and
normal.
It's I don't want to overvalue the job.
No.
It was a great situation, but I hated it. It's a job. It's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
That's not my background. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So anyway, but I still didn't want to just throw the job away for 2-week vacation.
You're painting a great picture here.
You know what I mean?
Good conflicting emotions.
All of that.
Yes.
And I'm like, under any other circumstance, I probably would quit. But this is kind of a good little situation where I'm not stressed out.
Yeah.
Where am I? So anyway, we do this thing, and we do Boiler Room. It goes over well, and then we head over to London. And we have a first, long story short, the job let me do the 3 weeks thing. To fast forward.
Thank you, job.
Yeah, thank you, job. It's crazy, but it worked out.
Nice.
I exhausted sick day, all the sick days, all the thing. They was like,
that's how you finesse it. Keep the job, also do the dope shit.
Yeah, and at my point in my head, I'm like, I don't really take any of those days, so there's not of any value to me. I go to work every day, sick or not sick. So. Sure, take all of them, whatever. Can I go on this trip, please?
Yeah,
like that's all.
See how sick this is gonna be. Like, there we go.
I mean, of course, and to them, especially from upper management, they're like, "Who's this kid going to do what in the Olympics?
Yeah.
Why is he working here? First of all,
true.
All of those types of things. So I'm going through this
crazy
weird,
few months, huh?
Crazy few, and this is only like from March to that entire story is from March to August is when we went to
2012.
2012, we went to Belgium. Yeah, came back the end of August. So about 3 weeks. Did this festival in Belgium. We had a few shows in London. And this is the second time being thrown in a hot. So I got thrown in the hot seat twice, right, on this trip. No fault of anyone's, but we did. We had a show at the W Hotel. And
I can meet you in the lobby.
All of that, and we were supposed to do like a private performance in the back, like it's like a VIP room in there. Not taking into account that the Olympics there, so we have like all the Olympic team's wives coming out to the club, like what is happening?
That's
you know
crazy,
what I mean? Like we are, all of that's happening.
Not in Kansas anymore
at all, and the mics go out or something like that. So they're like, yo, Maddie, you got to DJ the set. I'm just like, DJ the set? The whole set? 30 minutes? I don't know what these people like even listen to.
Damn,
like, I don't know
crazy.
what's hot, what's not. Like, just play hip hop, bro. Just play play all of our friends' music.
Right,
basically, be yourself.
So they couldn't like rap and sing the mics.
They had because like, maybe there was a DJ mic, but that wasn't enough for this sake of the performance.
I see, yeah.
In hindsight, and they went to go get a mic from like this is club time, right? So electronic stores are closed. You can't just go buy a mic. So there was no replacement mic, and it just had to be me, and shit, people loved it. Played some of Remy's music, played some our homie Bodega Bam's music. It's like kind of underground meets 3-6 Mafia meets like that kind of space where no one's gonna really be mad about that music, you know. Anyway, and, you know, some ASAP Rocky stuff, you know, all that kind of shit. And we're all like burgeoning, so we're all friends, and it all made sense. So that was hot seat number one. We went to Belgium, and they gave us this hour-long set, and we don't have an hour-long worth of music to be on a stage in front of people that low-key don't even really speak English like that. Yeah. So they're like, Matty, you got to play the first 30 minutes. Wow. I'm like, it's like 1,000 people in front of me, bro. I don't know at all. He's like, just do the same thing again. And I'm just like, that fit, son. So here I am. I mean, you know, sharing stages and festivals with Snoop Lion and Bjork and crazy shit like that, and trying to explain it to my mom, like at the same time. She's teaching. Anyway, that's the inception of the music story.
That's a great story, and that because, I mean, not to cut you off from your ramble, but I want some more contextual what it led to. So that was 2012, and from that point, you're still with the homies, you're still with Remy, and I don't want to get this confused. So that wasn't World's Fair. World's Fair comes after. World's
Fair is kind of happening outside of the camera, right? Like we're all friends, we're all making music together, but
it's like a collective.
We're like figuring out a name still at the time. There wasn't a World's Fair to call anything. Yeah. At that time, you know, we were all childhood friends, so that us making music together was already a thing.
Okay. Because I want to get into the music. I want to get to the photography. I want to get into your individual style. I want to get to a lot of shit. But run
me through if you're running late on time. So
no, we're good. We're chilling. Okay, but I'm gonna conduct this conversation a little.
Okay.
But so tell me, because is music the number one thing you're doing right now? Most of your time, your creative energy, your job, money making. So like that was the genesis, but that was a while ago, 2012, and you've been doing that straight through. Yeah. Or there have been pockets. Like, were you a photographer back then?
No,
not at all.
No.
And you
never picked up a camera.
That's crazy.
Never owned one.
So can you go down a little rabbit hole of that? I mean, do you even see in your creative repertoire photography as an insane like creative pillar in your life, or is it just something you like and then you learned you're clearly extremely talented at it? Like, I'm not trying to smoke your salmon either.
That came from eventually being on the road. Like, so this is like iPhone 4, 5 maybe. So
use that as the timeline.
That's the time. I don't know. Hell yeah. 2013, 2014. 2013, 2014 is when photography kind of became a thing. You know, I'm like,
or accessible to everyone.
Well, yeah, and I'm taking photos of the homies on the road. So that's really where it started, portraiture. You know, like I wasn't taking anything else, nothing creative. It was just kind of like that, and like VSCO was an app at the time. Like
Visco
was a super popular app.
Damn, yeah, it's like before Instagram.
You know what I mean? So I had to like, I learned composition through the phone.
Damn,
you know? So that was just like angles and literally composition on the iPhone at that like 2013, 2014. And, you know, I mean, call it, you know, I mean, I guess it's an easy thing to be inspired by, being on the road with your friends and you're just like taking pictures of it.
I mean, also just a document, right? Like
just a document. Memories. It wasn't supposed to be a thing, right? And then, you know, I kind of had this like obsession with amateur film photography, grain and all of that at the time. So I took a little point and shoot on the road just to like shoot, just a borrowed one just to like take photos of anything. People are like, oh, not bad when we got back, you know. So I googled top 5 film cameras on a budget.
Oh yeah.
As soon as I got home from that road trip, and I didn't know what I was looking for, but I just picked the prettiest one. You know, the one that looked stylish enough where
people take me seriously.
Even if I sucked, you know, at least it looked good as an accessory, you know. That's really my approach. So,
remember what camera it was?
But this Canonet G317.
Okay.
Got the number right.
I don't know that
and
one.
They call it the poor man's Leica.
Oh, really?
It looks exactly like one.
Love that.
And it's kind of resembles what a lot of Fuji cameras look like today. It's like, you know, Fujifilm cameras. So I got that, went to Nippon, which is still around, this camera repair shop in the city. Just fixed the light seals in it. Bought that for like $50 on eBay. And my journey started with photos, like learning aperture and learning
Totally exposure,
all of that. And that's like crash course, right? Because
and that shit's not easy. Bro.
no, it didn't have a light meter. There was obviously it's film. You know, you butcher 8 rolls just putting it in.
Totally,
you don't know what you're doing. No one to help. You know, I had one friend, you know, still an amazing artist. Her name is Jane Lies. She took me like out on the CD one time. She was just like, all right, if I'm standing here, focus, here are the numbers you should think about. Things like that.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
So I had one little crash course, really.
Similar maybe to even the music. You know?
Yeah. But you know, I was only responsible for myself.
Yeah,
with the photos.
And a more creative hobby of not in front of people.
So the photos started on the road, and then I started just kind of taking pictures of whatever.
And you loved it? Like, is that why you continued?
Yeah.
You really liked it, yeah.
And I was good at it.
Yeah.
And once you got the composition down, you don't have to do anything but take pictures of things you like at that point.
Yeah, that's cool.
know?
Cool way of looking at it.
And then from that camera, I was gifted another camera, a Nikon F3. My boy G-Day wasn't using it, so he gave it to me. And then from there, I started getting booked to do work. It's the weirdest thing.
Oh, interesting.
I just had my first gig. I had a camera. I had that same camera on my neck, and this dude I bumped into this dude in the West Village. He's like, you take photos? Like, oh, me and my band need photos. You know, come to find out, it's this New Zealand band who like scored the McDonald's theme for Olympics. It's the craziest thing.
What?
Here I am thrown into like Columbia Records.
Another Olympic story?
Bro, see it, right? Right? The Winter Olympics this time. But shit, just like that.
Seriously?
I'm not, you know, at that point I was a vendor for Columbia Records and
damn.
And I started
as
shooting
a freelance
film.
like photographer?
Yeah.
Or like under them, obviously. Yeah, that's crazy.
No. I mean, I had my own company at that point.
Okay.
So I was just it's work for hire at that point.
Contracted.
Contractor is the word.
Yeah.
But I got paid pretty handsomely over the course of time because I got to own my photos per use and all of that.
That's so sick.
It was kind of like, you know, in hindsight, that was a dream, you know, like that's a thing you got to fight for today.
Totally.
You know, they didn't really want to own it outright. It was weird. It was in hindsight, somebody didn't know what they were doing.
Really?
Or I just got lucky.
Damn.
Where I was
or maybe you're just good, right time, right place.
Yeah, but I didn't have no PR. So I had to like look up these guys regularly to see if when they use my photos.
Oh, to see if the
I had no team. No, I didn't know. I just knew in the contract. I had a really good lawyer friend of mine look it over and it's like, all right, here are the terms. You know, she wasn't looking it up for me, so I had to just kind of keep up to date with my work.
Damn.
You know, and it was a trio, so they would do like weird things where they would take 3 different photos and put it together as one. Like I guess they were trying to cheat me. And I'm like, no, that's 3 different photos, so they had to pay me 3 different times. Even if the photos, the graphic designer did it differently.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's what it is.
That was my first job.
Damn.
As a photo anything.
Self-made also.
And,
self-made.
That turned into me starting to invest in, you know, not even invest. I just only bought 1 camera after that.
Just level up a little more.
I bought the F5 that I worked that I used for Phil's shoot last year. But only because it's an automatic film camera. It's like the update from the F3 that I had. And I kind of needed some little like
more important.
I needed autofocus.
Yeah, can't have like 3 medium format.
Can't do this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I can't do that. No, you know, it's not for anybody who needs commercial work.
Yeah.
And then I was gifted kind of a loaner, extended loaner, the Mamiya.
Really?
Yeah,
but you still have it?
It's the same Mamiya.
Oh, so it's still on loan.
Yeah, because I'm never going to claim I own it, but she probably doesn't want it back. She would have expired by now.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's the photo, the quick photo story.
No, it's great because and maybe even like we'll maybe lay it in, but hopefully maybe we'll take some, you know, maybe a couple portraits after this and we'll overlay the video. But I'm super amped because it's funny because that was like me not judging you, but like that was the only experience I saw of you, and I was like, okay, this is the photo guy. So I saw the photo, I was like, damn, this guy is legit the sickest like photographer. But little, obviously, you know, there's a huge other story. And so now is your life currently like photo and DJing? Like we could go back in the DJ, but like you said you have residencies. I see you playing shows. I'm sure COVID was super shitty for that, but is that your main source of income? Is that what you're like aspiring to when you have free time? I mean,
today my main source of income is between my personal investments in the market.
Yeah, I don't mean to be personal. I'm just saying. Like,
I mean, like, from a creative standpoint,
creative desires, from actual financial desires.
From the actual creative standpoint, music and photography is what paid my bills.
That's pretty fucking dope, dude.
And yeah, it was kind of a weird one because like nightlife ended last year for a year, and you know those budgets still kind of had to get spent. You know, like maybe the gigs were weird and awkward and shitty for the most part, but like F it, like I'll live stream, I'll do a Zoom party.
That's what I was gonna ask.
You know, like I didn't want to do IG streaming stuff. I still won't, but you know, thankfully I built up nice relationships with people who are in the right place.
Damn.
To kind of have me taken care of.
Because that was a half question part, because I mean, Phil's shoot was definitely before COVID, but not very soon after it was COVID. And that's when I started following you. I was like, whoa, what is this dude doing with all these like live stream music concerts? And it's funny, actually, the first kid on this podcast is an oil painter. And through COVID, he got into like live streaming painting and all this wacky stuff with crypto and NFTs. And it was like a great conversation. But that's what I was like, oh man, this guy's doing so much shit. Like, I don't even know, but like, I want to know. And so how was that? I mean, I think it is strange. I mean, concerts via Zoom, but clearly, like you said, there's budgets and you knew people, so you were able to continue that. Or maybe it was like a different medium, like a different experience.
It's just weird. There's no way to explain it.
Sounds weird.
To be fair, I had nothing to complain about in my entire COVID. Nothing to complain about. Thankfully, no one around me passed away from it. Work. Obviously, the first 2 months was just dead zone because everybody was just what is happening? Yeah. So clearly, we're all just kind of in la la land waiting for the answers. But once the summer kicked off last year, I was kind of, obviously it wasn't back to normal, but little things started to happen. Like artists still needed press photos, like still, Totally. So when they were trying to figure out if touring would start again or if albums would still come out,
you need that promo.
You still kind of need that.
Totally.
And, I had a friend who's just like, yo, these artists need this. Obviously we'll pay you. Boom. So that took care of me for, a month or two. And then the streaming stuff, a month or two. And then, kind of old arrears when people owed you before COVID turned everything off and money came, like just like things like that, it's kind of kept my lights on, and to be fair, I just kind of, I released photos of my own for the first time ever.
Oh, no shit.
To pay bill, like prints and music, cool. Put out music on Bandcamp. Bandcamp Fridays was a thing for the first time.
Damn.
So I got to kind of pocket money and kind of reallocate money to expenses and to charities, people who needed things. It was like an interesting first time I had to kind of really navigate existence and being still a participant in the creative community, and it all worked out.
That's awesome.
Like I don't have nothing to complain about.
Dude, me too. I was lucky also. And that's interesting, actually. I'm just thinking about this off the rip. Like, so you're saying that was the first time you kind of monetized your own stuff, put it out yourself.
First time.
Like you were hired DJing in your crew, and obviously, companies are paying you to take photos, but this was the first time, hey, these are my photos, you want to buy them type
yeah,
shit.
So
that's like my whole life.
Right.
We're opposite almost in that. Like,
okay.
I've never been hired by, I mean, people will do commissions, portraits, like paint my dog, but not company. I'm like the opposite. And I'm like a whore trying to sell my shit to the
it was weird. I did this series. 2020 was supposed to be the year I did my first photo show, solo photo show.
Oh, sick! Like in a gallery?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, that's
so
awesome.
that went left, obviously. And I still had this work that I'm kind of like, dude, there's no way for me to just be like, I'm going to wait indefinitely to put these things out. And just new little weird opportunities just came my way where I'm like, oh, I can just release this. Don't hold on to it anymore.
Right.
Just let it go.
I think a lot of people felt like that.
And I was like, I'll let it go. And I attached obviously a bit more narrative to the story. And I kind of just prefaced everything with like, this was supposed to be part of this bigger show. Here's a portion of it. Here's a third of it. And I did it that way.
And stifled it into
let's
social
say
media.
Yeah, let's say.
Was that the color sections on your Instagram?
No.
Okay.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I went all the way back.
Oh
because
my
I was trying
God.
to do some shit.
That was back when I was just collecting things on Travel.
Yeah, now that I think about your red, that was like maybe like 2016.
That was 2000. Yeah, I was 15.
Yeah,
into 16. Yeah, okay. I did a color study with. It started off with just kind of little artifacts and statues and things that I collected, and it turned into like this kind of hood snacks thing.
Yeah, I saw like candy.
Yeah,
and shit.
that eventually was like, but and the story with that was supposed to be, like remember when you had less, you know, like when how did you, in hindsight, like how do you survive off of like Butterfingers? It's like it cost 99 cents. Yeah, was it good for you? No, but remember you had less, you know. And at that time, I was doing really, really well, and I needed to kind of bring myself, like
humble yourself a little.
Correct my ego a bit.
I like that.
And that was something I did just for it started off just in my phone, and I was like, let me just share this.
I love that shit, dude. That gets me like going.
A little museum.
Yeah, that's cool as fuck. That's super sick. I just had a question there. What were we talking about? We were talking about the photography and monetizing your stuff, and But maybe I'll just switch it up. I want to talk about more. First of all, I love all the shit, and the point of this podcast is to really like, enter the mind. I know that sounds so dramatic and cliche, but like that's what I love. It's like even though I don't know you, I love to hear about process. Like I don't know shit about music or DJing, so it's interesting to hear that. I know a little about photography, but I'm into that. But as just a creative person, you have this like pretty, I'd say, distinct style, right?
Thank you.
Like, I mean, again, I've only met you once in person, but clearly throughout your Instagram, and I did the deep dive from posting from 2012, you were on that.
Taking the jacket off was not planned, by the way.
Oh, yeah. People don't know. It's probably like 85 degrees. It's steamy. We did the AC from the beginning, and it's hot again. Yeah, but yeah, we'll suffer through it.
No, I'm saying I didn't take the jacket off while you were talking about style. That was not. What was on my mind. It just so happened.
Right.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, because you like for years you wore a turban, right?
Yeah, I still do regularly.
Yeah. Okay. Because when I met you, you were in the bandana, and I have this wonderful quote here. He wears a turban to hide his halo. Was that you, or is that?
Where did you find that
on your Instagram?
That was me. I did write that. Yeah, that was a Jesus.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? Let me write this down because that might be.
Yeah,
spark something.
That was a long Jesus.
And then not only, I mean,
fire. I'm thankful. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was going to bring up anything.
Back for that one.
No, yeah. I was like, damn, because like literally, like some people do have styles. I wouldn't say I have a specific style. I think Phil is a very, consistent, unified, stylistic person, just innately just representing themselves through clothing, fashion, whatever. But from looking back in your past just through Instagram, it's clear you've been the same. It's evolved a little, even your glasses and stuff you wear. So can you talk about that? Like, I don't even know what to ask other than what's the deal with it? Does it make you feel you have this mythological style almost?
Yeah, I mean that's intentional. Yeah, at least the inspiration is intentional. Colors and all of that, I'm Jamaican, and that's just kind of how I grew up. Okay. I've never not been like express myself through clothes or style like that. I've always been that way, which kind of tails back to how I started with designing and trying to design back in high school. Like all of that was kind of a me trying to express myself in a way that wasn't just my personal style. So wrapping my hair started. Man, this is a long one. What I can say is it ended up being it's funny how the world works. It started out with me trying to emulate something I was super inspired by, which is kind of Arabian Nights meets the Maharajas that I was studying at the time, and trying to find some connection in ancient Arabia, that region, Mesopotamia, to like kind of my African ancestry. A lot of my mentors growing up were like hyper Egyptian. I use this word loosely, but fanatics, they studied, or historians. That's a better word to use. Yeah. So ancient Kemet and all these pharaohs and all these gods and that world, that's what they studied. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I never quite found anything that I personally or at least spiritually connected to. So I started, naturally just on your own
curiosity.
Path, I just started looking like, what is something that I love, even if I don't have quite a reason yet, what is something that I love that can kind of bring me back around to a parallel somehow. And I just started studying everything that was relatively close, like what geographically speaking. And I went into, Assyria, and I'm like, which pharaoh traveled that way? I'm just like literally doing some historical research.
Yeah.
Long story short, just like that, after wearing a turban and emulating this kind of this Maharaj, or jinn in this case, my mom is just talking about it. My mom's mom, my grandmother on my mom's side is like a bit more fair skinned, and my sister's a little bit more fair skinned. And one day she just went to brunch, and she's like, "Oh yeah, your great grandfather's like Syrian," and I'm just like,
right.
In my head, I'm just like, yeah. I'm just like, okay, like here's some facts,
or some connection,
years later too, and I'm just like holding on to this, like
that's cool.
This avatar, because I wanted to, and because I wanted to be equals with my mentors in this way, at least intellectually, and here I am with a reason at that point to continue to wrap my hair, and scaling it back, then learning about the ancient Moors and the kind of ancient mathematicians that brought into math and arithmetic and science to the rest of the world, at least at that time. The huge empire in the Ottoman times. And all of that,
I'm very interested in ancient history, by the way.
Okay, cool.
Look at that shit. I got Greek mythology, family tree, timeline of world history here, bro.
So Thoth.
I got Arabian Nights on that bookshelf over there. I'm not playing.
I got that same book.
Let's go.
See, we can get into it anyway.
No, that's why I'm very interested, because I know from what I heard, I want you to keep going. Yeah.
So when I was studying all that, that's how the Thoth thing came about. Because Thoth is just Hermes, really, in Greek. Or the other name for Hermes, and their Hermetic laws. But I'm kind of like, well, I'm not Greek, but I can't read. So the Egyptian version of that is Tahuti, or the original god or deity is Tahuti from ancient Kemet. I'm like, well, DJ Tahuti is like a bit much,
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm not even that. Yeah, it's just like, it's just a lot, So that's why I chose Thoth, because one of the Hermetic laws is the law of vibration, and vibration and bass were synonymous to me. And I'm like, well, there's like a connection that I can use.
Damn, that's sick.
To like make it make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hermes went into Mercury, and then that's why I wear Mercury as a ring.
Cool.
Messenger god.
Mm-hmm.
I was very, very good on a lot of old World's Fair records. I would do like spoken word pieces. So the messenger and like being the god of communication and expressing himself, all of it made sense in my head.
Yeah,
like,
the continuity.
All my friends were like homies from the hood. They had no idea what I was talking about, but because I did all this like extreme historical research, I just happened to know these things, and I wanted everything in my life to be at least consistent in my head, so I was never not myself, or never not doing something that I was already interested in.
Respect, yeah.
So that's So we maybe cut that and put it into the Thoth part.
But no, that's great. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so style, that just comes from, that ended up just thankfully being something that got more and more profound as I traveled and as I was being around different types of people and actually seeing the things that I studied in real life.
Right.
Eventually going to Morocco, eventually, like in our case, going to Europe and like going to the museums in Europe, like just on my own,
Yeah.
and then all those things. Going to Asia because I was obsessed with Southeast Asia. Finally going to Southeast Asia, and those are just like things that ended up helping me mature my reasoning. Like
Interesting.
or give my reasons a bit more foundation to stand on, for all my inspirations.
Yeah.
So
I'm inspired by Greek mythology is pretty much the biggest one, and like I love just like classic huge tropes of like I've done Medusa quite a lot and like the big
I know Medusa quite.
And I'm actually playing a really big oil painting. I'm like a hire model, and that's kind of a secret, but she's gonna do a Medusa. But like that's really what I want to do, and I love Cyclopses from the Odyssey and shit like that. I actually also am super into Southeast Asia. I did a semester there. I did a gap semester in Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam. We were studying like Buddhism, like all Eastern philosophy, and I was like very into it. I wasn't trying to be a Buddhist,
right?
But like I was just really like wanted experiential learning, like a break from and just dive into Asian culture. And then actually after that trip, I went to like one of the only Buddhist universities in the United States called Naropa in Boulder. Okay. Again, not to be a Buddhist, but like to just like continue learning about that. And it was very
like
experiential.
There's something to be said about that, because when you just talking to a friend about, it's one thing to be obsessive or hyper inspired by anything creative, right? It's one thing to love it so much that that's all you want to do. It's a next type of, it's a very interesting, people who end up being that for education or kind of intellectual avenues are fascinating to me. Like you just want to know something so bad, and it's not even to apply anything. I mean, you can't.
Yeah, it's just to know. It's know to know.
Be great at painting or great at drawing, because you can eventually apply it somehow.
Sure.
Even if it's not for commerce, you can draw. It comes out.
Right. It's like a tangible.
To just know things.
Yeah, dude.
Because you know things, and maybe it helps you down the line. Maybe it helps somebody else down the line. Yeah. Says a lot about a person,
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, and like now it's like being a professional thinker or like, this philosophical, like you're kind of saying, career path. It's like that doesn't exist anymore because of the bullshit of social media and instant gratification. But actually looking back in history, like those people were renowned. Those were the people who were, dissecting the zeitgeist of what it means to be conscious and all this shit. And so it's like we can't even, in my opinion, we can't fathom what that sort of life was. People back then, we talk about philosophers and ancient world, that was like a huge part of how stories were told, how information was getting across, or religious translations and shit like that. So it's so true. And you just saying that makes me think, we don't even. I mean, some people still do that. People love our historians, love learning. Of course, people always will. But the role it plays in our society now is like, I was just thinking, it's almost like not necessary or.
Yeah, there's no.
Not necessary.
But there usually isn't a way to apply it, right? For most people. That's why probably we don't glamorize it or praise it the way we used to. Yeah. Like to know the historical context of the GENIE, where that came from, why it's considered, negative in some religions and not so much in others. Like there's no reason to know that. There's no, except for your own personal inspiration or driving force to do a thing or to want a thing or to whatever. So I feel like most people don't value kind of, what's the word? Arbitrary information. It's, it's kind of arbitrary until it applies. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Like unfortunately, we only have so much bandwidth today to accept or receive or retain new information. Totally.
Well said.
So, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's dope that we're both into that, because that gets me going. I could talk about forever. But just to move on, maybe even, slowly wrap this up, it's like a 2-part question, maybe similar, but also different. Like when you were younger, I guess, I mean, when you were younger in 2012, but like, did you always aspire to be this creative person? Because it seems like you're full on, you know, like I know a lot of creative people because it's like kind of my world, but I feel like maybe a lot of people every day don't. And you would, you know, you're full blown doing this. Did you see yourself as you are now when you were younger? Did you aspire to be what you are? And then 2-part question, looking forward, what are aspiring to do? Learn more creative, photo, music?
Yes.
So sorry, that was a lot.
No. As a kid, always. As I was younger, as I went through it, I always wanted to just kind of create my own path, you know. And I guess that's why I latched on to the whole GENIE thing.
Wow.
Less about granting other wishes, but granting my own, you know. And then like, see, my favorite moment is at the end of Aladdin when he gets to put his Hawaiian shirt on and go on vacation. You know, it's like, yo, he can still be a genie. Yeah. Like Shaq still got the ice cream for Max after he was released. He can still grant his own wishes, you know. And I think that's like something that I can latch on that's a little less mythological and a bit more, yo, if you want to do it, you can do it. And a lot of times there are things I didn't want to do that I ended up not excelling at, you know, and almost in a self-sabotage type of way, you know. Yeah. So there are all the things that I wanted to do, even if I didn't know how it was going to provide for me or reward me. Right. I wanted to do it, and I ended up doing it, and I ended up, thankfully, over the course of time, doing it really well.
Become successful. Because of that, it may be innate passion.
Right.
That's like a key secret that maybe a lot of people don't understand.
Right. So that's
the secret sauce.
So yeah. So to answer your first question, yes. And that's like a huge part of the whole GENIE mythos for me. Just literally granting my own wishes, and if everyone's story somehow aligns with mine, you know, hopefully granting theirs. And that's how, you know, my creative professional life has started to reward me as well. Lending my creative critique or lending my creative expertise to anyone who asks, corporate or not. Second question.
It's like looking forward now. Yeah.
Man,
and I get asked this also, and it's like kind of like an impossible thing, but just, you know, you're an artist. I'm sure you always have ideas or desires to continue evolving what you do now, maybe try new things. So
I would love to make a few short vignettes of. So I'm hugely inspired by this is a exclusive.
Top secret.
Yeah, top secret.
SLEWNIVERSE exclusive.
So we were inspired by F1, right? And
the driving?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
I grew up watching it every Sunday with my dad.
I fucking love F1. Yeah, you don't understand.
So over the last few years, I've been working on this iteration of Formula One, but instead of cars, magic carpets.
Dude, yeah, because I wrote down Magic Carpet Grand Prix. Damn it, I didn't even ask that, but I got it right here.
Well, here we are talking about it.
That just clicked. I love that. Because I thought it was like a clothing line, and it didn't come in the conversation.
It's literally
all right,
the Magic Carpet Grand Prix.
Damn.
Yeah, it's the first time it's ever being mentioned, recorded. So I've got this. A few years ago, I went out to Dubai, and me and a friend designed this F1 suit out of linen. And we were sandboarding out there. So I have some stills from that, combination of some drawings with some like old world meets new world, tencel tent kind of race paddock type stuff. Yeah. Which is aimed to kind of pay homage to the racing culture, and draw some inspiration from ancient Arabia or ancient Moorish sporting. Damn. So this is kind of like it's an immersive experience. Okay. I have a whole like gallery planned and this whole kind of Hall of Fame planned and all of that planned. But I mean, this last year threw a lot of production level things off. So totally. Who knows when it'll end up being completed. But
that's like a big idea you're aspiring.
That's a huge idea. If I can do that and not do anything else, I don't need to be like I don't need to attach myself to some new megalith idea. Right. That's like what I would like to be my opus.
I was about to say that word. It's been brewing.
Yeah. I would love for that to be a thing that I get to create extensions of eventually. Damn.
I love that, man.
So So yeah, it's it's less about photography. It's less about music. Those elements are there, but it's literally an immersive experience that's meant to take you into a time warp where the future of travel and the the sport of today and the inspiration of yesterday come together. And so
wow.
Weird kind of like pod racer kind of Star Wars thing.
That's so sick, dude.
If even if it's like 3D and it's a video, I don't know how it's gonna end up.
So you're still chewing on it,
because there's been like several iterations of it that have been just made, drawn extensively, thrown away, pitched to brands, or I've been brought into offices with people that I was supposed to do it with, and then they left the company. So I just got, I just kept getting shot in the foot every time I tried to take the next step forward.
Right.
But now I'm just kind of like, I can just kind of do it myself.
Yeah.
And I don't need this is not them, but I'm saying I don't need like a Puma sneaker to make it happen.
Totally.
To get the money to make all this shit happen. It could be a TikTok video for all I know.
I see what you're saying.
It could end in, it could be a series of 15 TikTok videos that is a movie.
The vehicle could be anything. But
I don't
concept
care.
is
the concept
concrete.
is whole, and it's concrete is whole. I mean, I'll show some of the stuff for you off camera, but
hell yeah. Well, dude, that sounds really fucking awesome.
That's what I want. I don't like if I can do that. I don't want to do anything else.
And like, I mean, if you ever need anything help, I would love to be involved in 1%, if anything. But thanks for sharing. Yeah, and I mean, clearly, people watching or listening will have to follow GENIE, Mr. Bentley here for more, because that sounds super epic. Hopefully, the people who have been listening or watching like realize that this man oozes just cool shit, and that like I want to be friends with people like you, man, because it's inspiring to talk to. We clearly have some stuff in common, but that's dope, man.
That's an honor, man.
I appreciate it. And at the end of these podcasts, we're wrapping up, but I give a Yu-Gi-Oh card to the people, my guests, as a little gift and a memento. And this is Mana Dragon.
You know what's crazy?
And so I want to give you that. What?
I switched my wallet 2 days ago, and I had the evil genie. I carry it with me.
Yeah, because I was trying to go for something mythological.
No, I mean, dragon's my favorite animal, and this year I was born. I'm just, thank you.
You bet, man. Yeah, I'm a huge Yu-Gi-Oh!
Holy shit, this is cool.
Because I saw there was on your Instagram also there was some Yu-Gi-Oh shit, and I was like, that's dope. Because I got Monster Reborn right here. Like, I'm
my god.
I got the Monster Reborn card in my wallet. But yeah, no, so
fire.
I do this for all the guests, just as a little memento. But
thank you.
Yeah, bro.
This is the coolest gift ever.
Hell yeah, bro.
And it's sleeved up. Sleeved up. Thank you. This is bet, great. Bro. This is a great gift.
Yeah, I know this is only like an hour conversation, but I thought it was dope, and hopefully people enjoyed and come back anytime, man, for real.
Hell yeah, man. Grant your own wishes. Don't let nobody tell you nothing.
There you go.
What you want to do. Peace.
All right.